Did you guys know bananas are healthier than crystal meth? Well, now you do. That about sums up our daily banana fact. Now on to newer and better things. Which in this case means on to see if we can trigger some PTSD in these lovable goons I found in the neighborhood. Happy, did you bring a war drum? Yes, you rascals, I sure did, because yours truly believes in two things. Number 1, your enemy should always see you coming. Number 2, confusion creates chaos, and chaos is beautiful. It began slowly, and I may or may not have lured their griffin over with a shotgun pellet. In return, this thing gave me the backhand only a 1970s Chicago pimp could, causing me to tumble towards the ground. Luckily I had my own ARC Airlines ticket, so according to regulations I was covered for at least one minor tumble. I happily boarded Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 and returned towards the scene of the crime, because deep in my heart I knew that if the griffin was not hitting me, that bucket of depression was probably wailing on my beautiful drum, and you bet your ass he was. So my options were limited. The goal was never to kill unarmed creatures, however there wasn't much choice left in the matter. Once I landed comfortably on the ground, I proceeded to give him a little kiss. A kiss that was slow but firm and unyielding, like an old man backing his Lincoln Town Car over a handicapped parking sign. In short, a flawless kiss. Old people are wonderful, aren't they? Just a bunch of clueless bastards that somehow refuse to let the younger generation take their place. Looking at you, Supreme Court. The griffin finally bit the dust, and I could go back to showing them my version of Wonderwall on ARC drums, which evidently hit a nerve, because as soon as I started on the chorus, Liam Gallagher came out to investigate. Knowing fully well that Liam Gallagher was a famous booze fiend, I prepared my net gun. You could tell he wasn't day drinking yet, because he was smart enough to make a sneak attempt. However, the sneaking didn't last long, and clearly it seemed he did not appreciate that I was playing his music flawlessly while not paying for the copyright. Liam had eventually mustered the courage to engage in full, cosplaying his favorite Shrek dragon. He started spitting fire on me and my airline. We took the opportunity to net him, which instantly fueled his fight or flight response. Liam was not in the mood for flight. He started wailing on me like a 40-year-old that's already gone through 2 divorces. His fury was too much for me, so I ended up having to throw him off the edge before he caused my airline to crash. While I slowly returned to my drum, feeling a bit sad over the murder of Oasis main singer, I quickly got reminded that Oasis was not a one-man band. Liam's brother Noel showed up on his shiny griffin, and he was having none of my shit. Due to already being incredibly low, I felt it was a good idea to evacuate the area and reposition myself. Noel was however fueled up on energy drinks and cocaine, so he didn't care where I was going. Just like his brother, he was adamant about people trying to play his song without paying the copyright fee. He swooped around bashing on my airline a few times. Eventually he gave me an opening to netgun him. It worked. It was time for Oasis to meet Kurt Cobain's toothbrush, aka Mr. Shooty McFruity. Noel Gallagher however decided to pull a Uno reverse card on me, and just like me started blasting. It went from being a classy music lesson to a normal day at an American preschool really fast. I opted quickly to see if I could treat him to the same experience I gave his brother. Noel apparently weighs more than John Goodman, so that did not work. Out of nowhere Noel pulls out a whip. Playing as a black woman, I could already tell this was not going to have a happy ending. I tried again to use Kurt Cobain's toothbrush, but he was fast and managed to disarm me. Not wanting to deal with the whip, I accepted defeat. I jumped, choosing to abandon Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 to its fate, and that, kids, is how it disappeared. But seriously though, it was a good fight, and props to the guy, he played it well. I never expected him to pull out a whip. Luckily enough, I kept another cryo on me. The beautiful covered bat, not seeming interested in sharing my illness, they opted to try and find me. The invisibility however gave me an advantage. An advantage to make close connections to strangers so that I could whisper sweet nothings into their ears. For example, in this scenario I whispered, bleaching your asshole technically is changing your ringtone. Where after that I proceeded to murder him so he could forever remain in the wonderful realm of thought. Don't say I'm not out here looking out for you lunatics. Like a predator driving past a school, I patiently waited for them to come out and play with me. It didn't take long since these guys were quite fearless. A challenger emerged shooting forward on a nitro-stuffed budget bird. He went for the pick, but I got lucky and moved faster. However, being ill-equipped is not in these people's nature, so once again I was treated to the whip of destiny. We both fell towards the ground, pulling out our parachutes as fast as our fat fingers could let us. In these moments I always think it would be nice to have a minigun, just so that I could quickly experience what it would be like to commit a war crime. I grappled onto my bat at first opportunity in order to get some distance between him and I. Stupidly enough, I didn't realize that maybe this guy had the same mindset as me. So he obviously also called on his dinosaur, except somehow Mr. Chimichanga over here upgraded his budget bird to a griffin, which is fine and all because bippity boppity fuck me, I guess. At first I thought he was just heading back home to regain his mental, but the little psychopath carelessly and a little disrespectfully decided he would also go ahead and fetch his budget bird. That's when I decided to try and teach him the classy way of saying fuck around and find out, which for those of you who don't know is you may test that assumption at your convenience. Ergo, what the shit, Peter Parker, The net magically hit its destination and somehow I almost looked like I knew what I was doing for a second. I swooped down to get a better angle for a pick on my friend, but sadly cataracts is a terrible thing. He whipped me off again, and since I didn't have a gun anymore I chose to place Play-Doh all over the place, hoping I could cause as much damage as possible. If luck was involved, maybe he would die in the explosion. I quickly got back on the bat, assumed a good viewpoint and watched the reverse gender reveal play out. Not one single freaking thing decided to die. I was like that suicide bomber that blew himself in the bathroom stall by mistake. Luckily for me they were still low, so I came back in with the bat and finished them off with the claws. However, Billy Joel here was still not dead. Once again he whipped me off the bat. I was in a very awkward position where I realized I couldn't really give him any of my remaining items or I would be stuck trying to show him what these delicate hands could do. Which sadly is not a lot. Well, it was time to pull out the controlled fall maneuver. It's called fall because everything is falling: leaves, temperature, bank account, dignity, motivation, and both are soon to be lifeless bodies. This is going to go great. I loved how he started whipping while being dragged down the mountain. You just have to respect it. I guess I had some saved up good karma or something because I cut my parachute about 5,000 meters too early. Luckily all those Zumba lessons and catwalk classes paid off because somehow I survived. I celebrated my victory by suffering mostly from a brain tumor and not really knowing what to do in the moment. However, eventually I regained human function. The surrounding dinosaurs decided to celebrate with me by mugging my remaining med brews, but I couldn't even be angry at that. Silly little smooth criminal probably deserved it more than me. Not like I just survived a 500-foot drop with broken legs. Go enjoy yourself, you smooth criminal. Mr. Billy Joel was finally dead. It was a fun fight and I hope he had time to appreciate it. Oh, and also I got my damn shotgun back, or at least a shotgun. Happy days all around. I decided to go back and check out the base. There were almost no tames outside of the base now, so I took the little I could and committed one more homicide for the day. Personally, I thought that was enough. But then the little Trump supporters made a mistake only fearless people and grandmothers who find themselves in front of serial killers do. They left the damn door open. Like finding a glory hole at an open bar. I was not going to miss my chance to make an MTV Cribs video, so I dived right in praying that the turrets wouldn't end me. And there it is, friends, the most anticlimactic bat dive you've ever seen. I feel like that fat guy that's not allowed to go on all the rides. Filled with embarrassment and shame, I knew there was only one thing left to do: murder all the witnesses. The beating started and I hummed to myself the Wonderwall song I never got to play to full circle on the war drum. I also found their bed and figured this battle was already over apparently, which means it went a lot faster than I thought it would. One last survivor remained and he attempted to get on the griffin for a pick, but it was too late. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I had the high ground. I finished him off and proceeded to remove the remaining bed. This Trump nest was done for. As is tradition, I put the remaining passive dinosaurs to sleep, because if you are going to commit to murder you might as well go all the way. Well, that's not true. I murdered the adults and ended up kidnapping the children. You see, I have a plan. I'm going to start my own zoo, the series, and it's going to be wonderful. I'm going to try and get some bears, some kangaroos, some Germans, and perhaps even a mammoth. Don't worry, I will send you all cords when it's ready to be visited. Well, that's about it for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed the random chaos and my silent drum skills. TPM is currently enjoying breeding during the 3x event, so we can be prepared for bigger tribe fights with the alpha in the coming weeks. You guys want one more motivational speech before leaving? Sure, why not? The next time your wife gets angry, drape a towel over her shoulder and say, "Now you're super angry." Maybe she laughs, maybe you die, who knows? I hope you all have a terrible day and see you next time.